I'm Michael Brennan, 58 years old. On March 14th, I died in my seminary office while researching the Feast of Trumpets. I was reaching for my Hebrew lexicon on the top shelf when the pain hit. Like someone drove a spike through my chest, I remember the book falling, pages fluttering like white birds, my knees hitting the hardwood floor. Then nothing, complete, absolute nothing. For 11 minutes and 37 seconds, I was clinically dead. I'd been teaching biblical Hebrew and prophecy at Dallas Seminary for 23 years. My wife Sarah and I raised 3 kids in a little brick house 5 minutes from campus. Every morning I'd kiss her goodbye and drive to work listening to worship music in my old Honda Accord. That Friday was supposed to be special. I was preparing a sermon about the Feast of Trumpets, the 22nd of September, 2025. I discovered something about a 50-day pattern that made my hands shake with excitement. 7 years exactly. Biblical perfection. I thought I understood what was coming. I had no idea how wrong I was. The first thing I noticed was the silence. Not regular silence. This was different. Like the universe held its breath. I was looking down at myself, at my body, crumpled on that familiar office floor. My glasses broken. Coffee spilling from the mug I'd knocked over, spreading toward my pile of research notes about the feast days. Strange thing was, I felt no panic, just this overwhelming sense of relief. Then I heard it. A sound like wind through 1,000 trees, like ocean waves and thunder and children laughing all at once. I turned, though turning isn't the right word when you don't have a body, and saw the light. Oh, the light. How do you describe color that doesn't exist on Earth? Imagine every sunrise you've ever seen, compressed into a single point, then exploded outward in waves of pure love. That's not even close, but it's the best I can do. The walls of my office became transparent. I could see through them, through the building, through everything. I saw my assistant Jennifer running down the hall, saw her find me, saw her scream, saw her hand shaking as she called 911. But it all felt so far away, like watching a movie through water. I was being pulled upward, not pulled exactly, invited, drawn, like a child running toward their father's open arms. The ceiling dissolved, the sky opened, and I was moving through layers of reality I didn't know existed, each one more beautiful than the last. Colors that have no names. Sounds that were somehow also feelings. Joy that was somehow also light. Then I saw them. Beings of pure radiance. Not angels like in paintings, these were alive in ways I can't explain. They were singing, but their song wasn't just sound. It was creation itself. It was mathematics and poetry and love all woven together. One of them looked at me, though they had no eyes, as we understand them, and I felt known. Completely, utterly known. Every secret thought, every hidden shame, every tiny kindness I'd ever done. All of it seen, understood, and somehow loved. Michael, the being said, though no lips moved, he's waiting for you. I've studied Jesus my entire adult life. Read every gospel in Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, written 12 books about him, taught thousands of students about him. Nothing prepared me for meeting him. He was standing in a garden. Not the kind of garden we have on earth. This was alive, in ways our gardens only dream of being. The flowers were singing, the trees were dancing. The grass beneath his feet seemed to glow with its own inner light. But I barely noticed any of that, because he was looking at me. Those eyes, brown and deep and holding the history of every human who ever lived. In them, I saw my mother's face the day I was born. I saw my children taking their first steps. I saw Sarah saying yes when I proposed. I saw every student I'd ever taught, every person I'd ever hurt, every moment I'd ever lived. And in those eyes, I saw love. Not the word we use for love, the thing itself, raw, infinite, overwhelming. I fell to my knees. Not because I had to, because every cell in whatever I was now recognized its creator. Michael, he said, and my name in his mouth was like coming home after a journey of 10,000 years. My faithful teacher. I couldn't speak. 30 years of sermons, and I had no words. He smiled, oh, that smile, and helped me stand. His hand still had the scars, faint, like old memories, but there. When he touched me, I felt every broken thing inside me knit back together. Every doubt, every fear, every wound I'd carried. You've been studying the appointed times, he said. I nodded, still unable to form words. The Feast of Trumpets, the 22nd of September, the 2,550 days. Yes, Lord, I think something's coming, the patterns, the alignments. He held up his scarred hand. You see the shadow, Michael. Let me show you the substance. The garden disappeared. We were standing in space, but it wasn't cold or dark. Stars surrounded us like a congregation of diamonds. Earth floated below, blue and white and achingly beautiful. The Feast of Trumpets, Jesus said, is not about dates, it's about awakening. He waved his hand, and I saw time itself laid out like a scroll. Past, present, future, all simultaneously visible. Every feast I gave to Moses was a love letter. Passover, my blood covering you. Unleavened bread, my body broken for you. First fruits, my resurrection guaranteeing yours. Pentecost, my spirit living in you. The images flowed past. I saw the actual events, Moses receiving the law, the first Passover in Egypt, Jesus at the Last Supper, the resurrection morning, the Spirit falling like fire. But trumpets, he continued, and his voice carried a weight that made the stars pulse. Trumpets is different. Suddenly, we were standing in ancient Jerusalem, the Temple Mount. I could smell the incense, hear the priests preparing their silver trumpets. On earth, you count days. In heaven, we prepare hearts. The 2,550 days you discovered, yes, it's significant. 7 prophetic years, completion. But Michael, my people are looking at calendars when they should be looking at hearts. The scene changed. I saw millions of people all over the world, all checking dates, calculating timelines, arguing about pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib. Jesus' face filled with such sadness that I felt my heart do. Spirits have hearts. Crack. They're missing it, he said softly. The Feast of Trumpets isn't about when I return, it's about being ready when I do. He showed me 2 people, both Christians, both believed in him. The first was consumed with timelines. Charts covered his walls. He knew every theory, every date, every sign. But his heart was cold. His marriage was falling apart. His children didn't know him. His co-workers saw no love in him. The second knew nothing about the feasts, couldn't tell you what 2,550 days meant. But she loved. Oh, how she loved. She fed the homeless, visited prisons, held crying children, forgave her enemies. Her life was a living trumpet call, awakening everyone around her to God's love. Which one, Jesus asked, is ready for the trumpet? I couldn't answer, because I saw myself in the first man, the 22nd of September, 2025. Jesus said, and now we were standing on a mountain overlooking the whole earth. Yes, it begins something. The 2,550 days are not random. But Michael, the trumpet that matters most isn't the one that will sound in heaven. He touched my chest, right where my heart would be. It's the one that sounds here, every day, awakening my people not to dates and times, but to love, to service, to sacrifice, to forgiveness. The vision expanded. I saw the church, not buildings, people, millions of them, but so many were sleeping, spiritually unconscious, going through motions, playing church while their hearts grew cold. The true Feast of Trumpets, Jesus said, happens every time one of my children wakes up, really wakes up, stops playing religious games and starts living the kingdom. He showed me the 22nd of September, 2025. I saw events beginning to unfold. Not the rapture, not yet, but a shaking, a global awakening, economic systems trembling, nations in upheaval, and in the midst of it, his people being forced to choose. Comfort or courage, safety or sacrifice, the kingdom of this world or the kingdom of God. The 2,550 days, he explained, is a period of separation, wheat from chaff, those who know my voice from those who only know about me. It's not punishment, it's preparation. My bride making herself ready. I saw believers around the world. Some fell away when comfort disappeared. Others blazed brighter as darkness grew. The persecution that came wasn't what anyone expected. It wasn't just from governments or religions, it was from within. Families dividing, churches splitting, friend betraying friend. But I also saw glory. Such glory. Miracles like the book of Acts. Healings, provisions, divine protection, and love. Love so radical, it converted executioners. love so pure it melted the hardest hearts. This is what you must tell them, Jesus said, and now his eyes were fire. Stop calculating dates. Start calculating the cost. Stop trying to escape Earth. Start transforming it. The Feast of Trumpets isn't about leaving, it's about being so full of heaven that Earth can't contain you anymore. He showed me one more thing. A moment in time, still future, but certain as sunrise. Every knee bowing, every tongue confessing. The trumpet sound that would shake the cosmos. His return in glory. But then he showed me the faces of those who weren't ready. Good people, church people, people who knew all the right words but had never let those words change them. The anguish in their eyes when they realized what they'd missed, not the event, but the relationship, not the date, but the heart preparation. Tell them, Michael, Jesus said, and tears can glory cry, ran down his face. Tell them the trumpet is sounding now. In every moment they choose love over hate. In every second they forgive instead of holding grudges. In every instant they serve instead of being served. That's the real Feast of Trumpets. That's what the 22nd of September begins, not an escape plan, but a revolution of love. The vision began to fade, but Jesus had one more thing to show me. I saw myself, back in my office, teaching, but different now. No more charts and timelines dominating my lessons. Instead, I was teaching love, practical, radical, earth-shaking love. And my students weren't just learning, they were being transformed. Your work isn't finished, Jesus said. You have a message to deliver. But Lord, I finally found my voice. They won't believe me. A near-death experience? They'll say it was hallucinations, lack of oxygen, brain chemistry. He smiled that smile again, the one that held the birth of galaxies. Some won't believe. That's their choice. But others are so hungry for truth that they'll recognize my voice even in your words. Those are the ones you're sent to reach. I don't want to go back, I admitted. The words tumbled out like a child's confession. It's so beautiful here, so perfect, so real. Everything else feels like shadows now. I know, he said, and pulled me into an embrace. How do I describe being hugged by love himself? Every abandonment I'd ever felt healed, every rejection erased, every fear dissolved. I was a child in my Father's arms, and for that eternal moment, nothing else existed. But Michael, he whispered, if you stay, who will tell them? Who will warn them that the trumpet isn't about escaping trouble, but about becoming the kind of people who shine brightest in darkness? Who will tell them that the 22nd of September isn't a deadline, but a starting line? I knew he was right. Of course he was right. Will I see you again? I asked, already knowing but needing to hear it. I never leave you, he said. Every time you choose love, I'm there. Every time you forgive, you touch my heart. Every time you serve the least of these, you serve me. And yes, Michael, one day, sooner than you think, but not as soon as you hope, you'll be home for good. Please, I begged. Just a little longer. Just let me stay a little longer. But even as I said it, I felt the pull. Back toward Earth, back toward my broken body on that office floor. Remember, Jesus said, and his voice followed me as I fell backward through layers of glory. The feast isn't about the trumpet that calls you home. It's about becoming the trumpet that wakes others up. The light faded, the warmth receded, the perfect love became a memory that would haunt me beautifully, wonderfully haunt me for the rest of my days. The last thing I heard was his voice, soft as a whisper, strong as thunder. Tell them I'm coming, not to scare them, to prepare them. Tell them the oil for their lamps isn't knowledge, it's love. Tell them, Michael. Tell them the trumpet is sounding now, in every act of love they choose. Then pain. Crushing, burning pain. Voices, shouting, electronic beeping. We've got him back, he's back. The fluorescent lights were like needles in my eyes. Don't try to move, Dr. Brennan. A nurse's face appeared above me, kind eyes, tired smile. You gave us quite a scare. My throat felt like sandpaper. How? How long? You were down for almost 12 minutes, she said, adjusting my IV. The paramedics said it was a miracle they got you back. Your assistant, Jennifer, she did CPR until they arrived, probably saved your life. 12 minutes. It had felt like hours, like seconds, like eternity. Dr. Rahman came in the next morning. He'd been my cardiologist for years. Good man, brilliant physician, complete skeptic. "Michael," he said, looking at my charts with obvious confusion, "I don't know how to explain this." "Explain what?" "The damage to your heart. It's less than yesterday. Significantly less. That doesn't happen. Heart tissue doesn't regenerate overnight." He showed me the scans. The first one, massive damage. The widowmaker, they called it. Should have killed me instantly. The second scan, taken that morning, showed healing that shouldn't exist. "Have you experienced anything unusual?" he asked carefully. I almost laughed. "Unusual? You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Try me." So I did. Not everything. He wasn't ready for everything. But enough. The light. The presence. The overwhelming love. The message about time running short. He listened. Didn't interrupt. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. He finally said, "We see this sometimes. Oxygen deprivation, the brain creating comforting illusions as it shuts down. Is that what you think it was?" He looked at the scans again. "At the impossible healing, I don't know what I think anymore," he admitted, "but I know you shouldn't be alive, and I know that heart tissue shouldn't look like this. So maybe there are things we don't understand." Sarah arrived an hour later. My beautiful Sarah, 55 years old and still the girl I fell in love with in Bible college. She'd been crying, I could tell from the puffiness around her eyes, but she was trying to be strong. "Don't you ever do that to me again," she said, gripping my hand so tight it hurt. "Sarah, I saw him." She went very still. "I saw Jesus." And then I told her everything, every detail, every word he'd spoken, the revelation about the Feast of Trumpets, the 2,550 days, the warning and the promise. She cried then. Not sad tears, the other kind. The kind that comes when truth hits you so hard it breaks something open inside. "The kids need to hear this," she said. "The church needs to hear this. Everyone needs to hear this." My son David came that afternoon, 28 years old, working at a tech startup, hadn't been to church in 3 years. "Dad," he said, awkward in that way adult children get in hospitals, "Mom said you saw something." "David, I need to tell you something, and I need you to really listen, not as my son, as a human being who needs to hear this." I told him about the two people Jesus showed me, the one obsessed with religious knowledge, the one who simply loved. I told him how I'd seen myself in the first one, and how wrong I'd been. "All these years," I said, "I taught you theology, doctrine, Greek words and Hebrew phrases, but I didn't teach you the only thing that matters, how to love like Jesus loves. How to wake up every morning and choose to be a trumpet call of grace in a world drowning in hate." David was quiet. Then, "Dad, are you saying the world's about to end?" "No, son. I'm saying it's about to begin. The real world. The one where we stop pretending and start becoming who we were meant to be. The 22nd of September starts something. A clock. A countdown, not to destruction, to decision. 7 years to choose what kingdom we really belong to." My daughter Rebecca came next, the skeptic, the scientist, PhD in molecular biology, razor-sharp mind, zero patience for what she called religious mysticism. "Dad," she said, "I'm glad you're okay. But Mom's talking about messages from Jesus and prophecies and..." "Becca, what would you say if I told you I could prove it?" "Prove what?" "That what I experienced was real." I had her pull up my laptop, showed her the files I'd been working on before the heart attack. The 25-50-day pattern I'd discovered, the connections to Daniel's prophecy, the astronomical alignments for the 22nd of September, 2025. "Now," I said, "let me tell you what Jesus showed me about those calculations, what they really mean." She listened, argued, questioned, everything I expected. But when I told her about the garden, about the flowers that sang and the trees that danced, something shifted in her expression. "That's..." she started, then stopped. "What?" "That's what I dreamed about when I was little, before I decided it was all fairy tales. A garden where everything was alive, really alive, not just biological processes, but conscious, joyful. It's real, Becca, more real than anything here." My youngest, Matthew, drove through the night from college, 19 years old, studying to follow in my footsteps. Seminary track, ancient languages, the whole program. "Dad," he said, exhausted but eager, "tell me everything." So I did. But when I got to the part about the trumpet sounding now, in every act of love, he started crying. "What is it, son?" "Last week," he said, "I walked past a homeless man. He asked for food. I had a sandwich in my backpack, but I was late for Hebrew class." "Your Hebrew class, the one your guest teaching. I chose the class over the man. I chose knowledge over love." "We all have, Matt, that's the point. But it's not too late. The trumpet's still sounding. We can still choose differently." I've been out of the hospital for 5 months now. It's August as I share this story with you. The 22nd of September is weeks away. People ask me if I'm scared, if I'm building a bunker, storing food, preparing for catastrophe. A number I'm learning to love. Real love, the kind that costs something. The kind that forgives when forgiveness seems impossible. The kind that serves when serving is inconvenient. The kind that chooses others over self every single day. Because here's what Jesus didn't show me. He didn't show me how to escape what's coming. He showed me how to be ready for it. And being ready isn't about knowing dates or understanding prophecies. It's about becoming the kind of person who brings heaven to earth just by being present. The Feast of Trumpets isn't a calendar event. It's a heart condition. It's happening right now in this moment as you decide what to do with what you've just heard. Some of you will dismiss this. That's okay. I probably would have too before I died. But some of you, I can feel it, even as I speak these words, some of you know. Deep down, beneath all the religious noise and theological debates, you know something's shifting. The spiritual atmosphere is changing. The trumpet is beginning to sound. The 22nd of September, 2025, isn't the end. It's the beginning of the end of pretending, the beginning of choosing, the beginning of becoming who we really are, either darkness or light, either love or fear, either the kingdom of man or the kingdom of God. The 2,550 days aren't a countdown to escape. They're a transformation period, a cosmic labor pain, a 7-year journey into the depths of what it really means to follow Jesus. And it starts with love. Simple, radical, earth-shaking love. The kind that makes no sense to the world. The kind that forgives 70 times 7. The kind that turns the other cheek. The kind that goes the extra mile. The kind that lays down its life for friends and enemies alike. I don't know when Jesus is coming back. Even after everything he showed me, he didn't give me that date. What he gave me was more important. He showed me how to be ready whenever it happens. Be the trumpet. Don't wait for it, be it. In your marriages, be the trumpet that sounds forgiveness. In your work, be the trumpet that sounds integrity. In your neighborhoods, be the trumpet that sounds compassion. In your churches, be the trumpet that sounds unity. Stop arguing about pre-tribulation or post-tribulation. Start living like people who've already been tribulated and came out refined. Stop calculating dates. Start calculating the cost of discipleship. Stop trying to figure out the mark of the beast. Start bearing the mark of the Lamb: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. The world is about to change, dramatically, irreversibly. The birth pangs are starting. But remember, birth pangs don't lead to death. They lead to new life. Don't be afraid of what's coming. Be transformed by who's coming. Don't stockpile food, stockpile love. Don't build higher walls, build longer tables. Don't hide from the darkness, shine brighter because of it. One last thing. Jesus gave me a message specifically for those who think they've gone too far, sinned too much, failed too often. He showed me you. Yes, you, listening right now with that weight of shame you've carried for so long. He said to tell you, the trumpet calls you home too. Not to judgment, to healing, not to condemnation, to restoration. Come as you are. The feast is prepared. The Father is waiting. And all of heaven celebrates the moment you turn toward home. The 22nd of September, 2025. The Feast of Trumpets. The 2,550 days begin. But the real feast, the real trumpet, the real awakening that starts now, in this moment, with your next choice, your next breath, your next opportunity to love. The trumpet is sounding. Can you hear it? It sounds like forgiveness when you've been wronged. It sounds like generosity when resources are scarce. It sounds like peace in the midst of chaos. It sounds like hope when everything seems lost. It sounds like Jesus calling his bride to make herself ready. And ready doesn't mean perfect. Ready means willing. Willing to love when love costs everything. Willing to trust when trust seems foolish. willing to believe that the God who died for you is worth living for no matter what comes. I died on the 14th of March, 2025. For 11 minutes and 37 seconds I was gone, but I didn't really start living until I came back. Until I understood that every moment is a trumpet call, every choice is a feast, every act of love is a declaration that His kingdom is coming and His will shall be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Don't wait for the 22nd of September. Start now, today, this minute. The trumpet is sounding. The feast is prepared. The bridegroom is coming. Be ready. Not with charts and timelines and theological arguments. Be ready with love, just love, always love. That's the true meaning of the Feast of Trumpets. That's what Jesus wanted you to know. That's why He sent me back. To tell you that the trumpet you're waiting to hear is the one He's waiting for you to become. Listen. Can you hear it? It's the sound of heaven invading earth, one act of love at a time. It's the sound of the bride making herself ready. It's the sound of Jesus calling you home, not to a place, but to a way of being. Not someday, but today. The feast has begun. The trumpet is sounding. And you are the music.